The homie Dr. Dre has been admitted to a Los Angeles hospital, and he's currently in ICU, intensive care unit, because of a brain aneurysm. Now, we know the things that he's going through with his estranged wife, Nicole, as far as the divorce courts go. And I want to tell you men now, both married and single, knowing that the woman who benefited from your success is now the primary enemy of that same success is enough to drive any man loony. And when you add to that the amount of resources that Dre stands to lose, you can understand why the stress of this entire scenario has driven him to this state. But there's a bigger issue that no one's discussing. And we're going to talk about it. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, you know I tell you guys all the time, returning to a Jezebel succubus is like a dog returning to its vomit. And just in the recent past, Dre has returned and been intimate with this same Jezebel succubus who is trying to drain him dry financially to give more of his energy away to her. Now, granted, she may have lured him in and he may have thought that this was a way to get her to accept his offering of an out-of-court settlement. But I don't care what a woman offers. If it comes down to you giving her access to more of your energy, you had better go the other route. You men must understand, when you are consumed by red pill rage, it is because you can't do anything about the situation. Rage only happens when you can't effectively handle a situation to your satisfaction. You just have to deal with the effects of that situation. As Dre is having to deal with the effects of a woman who knows everything about him, bringing all of those things to light in a court of law, just in an attempt to take from him what he has earned with his hard work and talent. She wasn't on the road with him. She wasn't in the studio with him. She wasn't at death row dealing with the foolishness over there with him. She was at home in whatever house he was able to afford at that particular time, relaxing and living the life. See, recently, after he tried to settle with her, she found out about $262 million in cash and Apple stock that he has. I'm talking about $262 million cash on hand. And these are the same stocks that he's been selling to fund their $2.5 million a month lifestyle over the past 2 or 3 years. But see, that's not enough for her. A woman believes that she's supposed to maintain the lifestyle that she couldn't afford. She believes that if you allow her to live your lifestyle, that she deserves to live that lifestyle even when she's no longer with you. That's what happens in these divorce cases where a woman tries to get enough money to maintain the same lifestyle. That's why I'm telling you, men, in American society, marrying a woman is fool's gold. Because whatever life you give her, you're required to help her maintain that lifestyle even when y'all split up. That's why you see a woman living better than a man after the divorce sometimes. And you think about this, after all of these things, wanting to cut up on a broad man for lying and whatever other practices her and her legal counsel are attempting in court, but you can't do anything. You just got to keep it bottled up while she's in there lying and bringing up things and making up things. And the worst part of this is that all she can use for true ammunition is the things that you trusted her enough to share with her. She doesn't even need a private investigator most times. I can almost guarantee that when Dre went to her this past time and he was intimate with her and she drained more of his energy, making him even weaker to her, that's when she probably found out about this $262 million cash on hand. She probably drew him back in and told him, I don't know if I want to do this. I kind of, I miss you and blah, blah, blah and all of that. And, and I just, it's not about the money. I know you're struggling right now and you ain't got that. No, I'm not struggling. I got $262 million cash on hand. That's what I got. And I got the Apple stock. You remember the Apple stock? I got a bunch of them left. That's what happens when you're in the midst of the Jezebel succubus. You get your energy drained. You don't believe it? Look at the story of Samson and Delilah. He kept staying with the energy draining succubus. And finally, he told her his deepest secret about how he got his strength. See the similarities? The thing is this, man, not being able to leave a woman you don't want because she doesn't want you, or you don't want anyway, without having to pay her half of your fortune, man, that's enough to drive a man crazy. And after 20 years, you just don't think it's going to happen. Tell me how many men who are married now, been married for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, think that one day within the next year, their wife is going to wake up and say she want a divorce, or they're just going to get a subpoena for a divorce to show up in divorce court. Tell me, how many men do you think are prepared for that? But I can guarantee you that there are a whole bunch of men who are going to face that exact thing this particular year in 2021, 2022, 23. It's coming on the horizon for a bunch of men. And when you get to that scenario where a woman says, I don't want to be with you anymore, shouldn't you just be able to walk away? Shouldn't you just be able to say, hey, okay, well, listen, you've been my wife all this time. Here, I'll give you this. Have a good life. You should, but you can't in America. And America's not the only country. Australia is another country. There are several countries out here. But America for sure, which is the country that we live in right now, you can't marry a woman in America. You are a fool if you do. See, this is the thing you have to understand, man. When a woman declares war of any kind on you, it affirms the fact that she now identifies you as the enemy, not her husband, not her lover, not her friend, not her baby daddy, not her children's father, however you want to say that. She views you as the enemy. No one declares war on their friends. You only declare war on your enemies. The problem is, by the time you get the declaration of war, you still in love with the woman. You still love the woman. You're trying to talk her out of it. You're trying to love her out of it. You're trying to make her see that she's making a mistake, but she's already declared war. Have you ever heard of war being declared and then suddenly the side that declared war says, well, you know what? I changed my mind. Withdraw the troops. No, the attack plan is already in effect. They're already in seek and destroy mode. I'm talking about any type of attack, character assassination, which is, some of these rumors coming out, financial warfare, meaning that a woman feels like she needs to have access to everything that you've built. That's what happens when countries declare war on other countries. They go in and take over all the resources. Divorce court is a declaration of war. It is a war zone. But let me tell you something. You can avoid that war zone by staying your behind out of marriage, man. That's how you avoid the war zone. And then the crazy thing is, the same woman, man, who was with you through all this, man, through thick and thin, as guys like to think, but she's only with you through thick. Let it get thin. She gonna be gone. There ain't no woman that's gonna ride with you through thick and thin. If she start off thin with you, she'll stay with you till it get thick, but let it get thin again. That same woman is aligning with the courts. I mean, the same courts that created the laws. And now she has legal counsel picking through those laws, man, to get every single bit of ammunition she can to attack you with. And this is the woman you swore your love to. Man, Dre was with this woman 20 years, sleeping with the enemy for 20 years. And many of you men right now are sleeping with the enemy every night, and you don't know it. You know why? Because the enemy doesn't want you to know they're the enemy until they're ready to attack. That's what enemies do. They get as close as they can. They send in spies. But guess what? When you say I do, you invite the spy into your life. I want you men to understand this. When a woman exposes each and every private matter to which you've made her privy, how heartbroken does that leave a man? How mentally distraught does that leave a man? How emotionally lost does that leave a man? Because you thought she was in love with you the way you were in love with her. She was never in love with you. Women don't fall in love. They love the feeling of the idea of falling in love. Men fall head over heels in love. And in closing, I want to say this to you, men. 50% of marriages will end this way. 50% of marriages will end this way. And 80% of those endings will be initiated by the same woman you love. And you know why that is? Because the woman you love houses this same hatred for you. So I say to you, men, prepare for your big ball of stress. Because more and more, this is how the majority of marriages are going to end. Let's hope the brother Dre gets better, man. But there's a possibility that he won't. Because when he gets out of the hospital, guess what's still there? The Jezebel succubus he fell in love with 20 years ago, who has now declared him as her arch nemesis. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.